Okay. Good evening, class. Good evening, class. Okay, this is Geography Group 3, and we are here to present to you the topic of weather. So, the following are the members of the group. And to begin, I will start with the introduction of weather. So, before we start, dear class, I will request Rubawan for the word of prayer. So, we will pray. Dear God, we come before you this hour. Thank you for the day. As we begin the class, we ask for your understanding. In the name of Jesus Christ, we preach and believe. Okay. Good evening once more, dear students. Okay, I'll introduce to you the topic of weather. So weather, many times, hope you have all come in terms of this weather, and always you're asked to describe weather of a given place or a area or somewhere that is far from you. So here, if you're asked such questions, you just say you consider the place and the time. So the atmospheric condition of the place and the time of the place and the name of the area. So like now in Baraton, it is somehow cloudy or cold. You can say it's cold in Baraton. And at 5, so we can say in Baraton is very cold at 5 p.m. So that one will describe weather. So now, if you look at the definition of weather, we say weather refers to the atmospheric condition of a place at a particular time, from hour to hour or day to day. So weather may also vary. Like I've just said, it may vary maybe in Nadi County or even in a small area. It may vary. It may like I've just said, it may be sunny in Baraton or in another place and raining heavily in other areas. So in this term, if you come in terms with weather, like we can also compare it with climate, so that you may not get confused. So like if you use the term weather and climate, somehow they are relatively close to each other when studying areas like climatology and meteorology. So like in weather, we can say, like I've just mentioned, now if you look at climate, we can say climate is the average weather condition of a place recorded over a long period of time, and this involves recording, and this climate, it involves recording, systematic observation, recording, processing of various elements of climate. So before any standardization can be arrived at. So look at, they are different. The difference is very large between weather and climate. Look, like just say, climate is a long term, while weather is the short term. Like I've just said, it's time to time and or day to day. And climate is over a long period of time, usually maybe 5 years to 30 years. So dear student, this is very simple. Your work just here is just to look at the definition of weather and be comfortable, like in a question or in an exam, you may be asked to define the term weather, and you have to have always, just have to understand it and always have it on your finger. And the difference between weather and climate. So the difference between weather and climate you should also know, so that you may not get confused between the two terms. So if you look at the definition, weather is now the atmospheric condition of a place at a particular time, from hour to hour, day to day. So climate is also the average weather condition of a place recorded over a long period of time. So in our next class, we will look at the importances, the elements of weather. Right now, just know the definition of weather, the difference between weather and climate. Okay, thank you. We'll meet in our next class. And I will welcome the next presenter right now to take you through different.
I'm going to take you through the importance of weather And as you know that weather condition of a place influences different things that are carried out during the day, because as you've heard, the definition of weather is the atmospheric condition of a place uh, in a day or in from hour to hour. So as you can see from the slides, the first importance is that it improves people's lives. Like knowing the weather condition of a place will help people know what to do at what time. So the next one is determine the type of clothing that should be worn. Like for example, if someone is if someone knows that the weather is going to be warm, they will have light clothes, while if they know that the weather is going to be hot, they'll have light clothes. Uh, the next one is knowledge of a given place gives people idea of economical activity to be carried out. Like for example, if they know that the weather condition of a place in January is going to be hot, so they are not going to do cropping like vegetables, maize, so they are not going to plant the maize. If they know that it is going to be warm, to be cold, they are going to carry out their planting season, so that the water will from the rain will be able to help the plants to grow. Another importance is that studying weather of a place at a long time helps to establish climate. So as we've heard from the introduction, that climate is the weather condition that has been studied for a long period of time. So studying weather, this brings us to a conclusion of a climate of a place. So class, I just want to ask you that after this class, please make sure that you can state and explain the importance of weather, at least, no at least 4 or 5, and do your research until we meet the next class.
After looking about the definition of weather, now we want to look on elements of weather. Elements of weather can also be referred to as components of weather. We have several components of weather. Number one is wind, and wind is air in motion. Number two component of weather is temperature, and temperature is the most important determinant of weather and climate, since it tends to affect other elements of weather. Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a place and is measured in degrees Celsius. Component number three is humidity. Humidity is the level of moisture in the air. The more water vapor in the air, the higher the humidity. Element number four is precipitation. Precipitation can be in form of rainfall, hail, drizzle, sleet snow, fog, or mist. It is a collective term given to moisture that falls to the ground from the atmosphere. The element number five is atmospheric pressure. And here we see that atmospheric pressure is related to wind. Since wind is a moving air from high to low pressure, the greater the difference in pressure, the faster the wind. Atmospheric pressure is the weight of the atmosphere on the surface of the earth. Another element is cloud type and cover. And here we see that cloud cover has an important role in weather description and forecasting. A cloudless or overcast sky is usually a clear indication of weather conditions. Cloud cover is measured in octaves. And today, the last element we are looking at, we are going to look is sunshine. It's obviously important, primarily since it is potentially indicates the amount of heat an area is receiving. After looking at the elements, we are going to measure on temperature. And our next subtopic, we want to look about temperature.
Now, let us now look at temperature as one of the elements of weather. And temperature is the average measure of kinetic energy of a given place or body. We find that temperature is a crucial component or element of weather. We're going to see the factors influencing temperature. Factor number one, we have altitude. Factor number two, we have latitude. Then we have cloud cover. Factor number four, we have wind. Factor number five, we have aspect. And then we have distance from a large water body. Now we're going to
The wind vane, it has the 4 cardinal points and an arrow pointing to the direction where the wind is going. And we have a video here attached which illustrates the use of the wind vane and its purpose. I welcome the next presenter to take us through the remaining instruments of wind.
So students, I'm going to take you through the windy sock and anemometer. Let's start with the windy sock. Windy sock, as you can see, it's brightly colored for visibility, and then as you can see, both sides are open where one side is attached to a pole or a structure. Windy sock is used to measure direction and speed of wind, and the angle at which the windy sock stands out from the pole can give a rough estimate of wind speed. And the windy sock is commonly found in airports. For those who have walked the airports, it's found there. Helipads, it's also found in helipads and other locations where the wind information is important for aviation and safety purposes. The video attached here you will go through it at your own time. Let's look at the anemometer. And the anemometer is very simple and simple to understand. It's used to measure speed and pressure of wind, and it has some curves as you can see in the diagrams. And there are various types of anemometers. For example, there are cup anemometer, there is vane anemometer, and digital anemometer. The anemometers are widely used in meteorology, environmental monitoring, and various industry where wind speed data is crucial for safety. Yeah, that is all. Let me welcome my next colleague.
Class, next we're going to look at the conditions on where to site a weather station. And in order to site a weather station, there must be several conditions to be put in place. And here I have 5 conditions. The first condition, place in an open place area where no shading can occur. We know that some weather instruments like a windsock, it is brightly colored for visibility. So when you place the weather station where there is shading, it will block visibility. The second condition, place in an open place where no obstacles can interfere with recordings. Here, when I talk of obstacles, I'm talking of things like tall buildings, things like tall trees. So when there is obstacles, they will interfere with recordings. Another condition, you place a weather station where there is security, because when you place it in an insecure place, the recordings may be interfered with people, and also maybe the elements may be stolen. The other condition, you place the weather station in a ground that is gentle sloping. You ensure that the land is gentle sloping in order to make it easier to measure some weather conditions such as rainfall. Then we have the last condition, that is the area should have a wide view for accurate recordings and to get accurate results when taking measurements. I'll welcome the next presenter.
Hello class, I'm going to take you through another subtopic under weather, that is weather forecasting. And weather forecasting is a prediction of weather of a particular place at a given time, approximately for 24 hours, or not necessarily to be 24 hours, it can be 3 hours. So therefore these are the changes like from windy to maybe sunny and rainy. So therefore, under this weather forecasting, there are two types of weather forecasting. That is modern and traditional. Under under the traditional methods of forecasting, it is done through the observation like rainbows. When it is raining and then there's a rainbow appears, it shows like there's a probability of rain going to stop, and there's changes in wind direction. And the other methods of traditional methods are migration of birds, of certain types of birds. In that when these birds migrate, it sets like an onset of drought or a rainy season. Dew on the grass in the early morning, presence of the full moon, the croaking of frogs, the direction of wind, different types of cloud present in the sky. In that, the different types of clouds like the nimbus, they represent rain, and different types of clouds like cumulus, they represent like a sunny day or there's no going to be any rain. So therefore, I'm going to the next method, that is a modern method of weather forecasting. This involves the use of modern equipment such as satellites, electronic computers. These methods are accurate in that these satellites are placed on the Earth's surface, that's the outside space, and they are used to read they are used to read, and signals are sent to the Earth where they are received and read and interpreted. And through this, one can interpret like either a storm is going to happen. Like now, for example, in the previous news we had like it was predicted that it's going to be an El Nino, and we hope so. Yeah, so I welcome the next presenter.
And for the last class, we were talking about the weather forecasting, types of weather forecasting, and today's class we're going to talk about the importance of weather forecasting. When we say about the importance, these are the benefits we get from weather forecasting. So the first point that we are going to put into consideration is that weather help people to prepare for how to dress. For example, during the rain season, people may dress heavier clothes or may heavier outfits, and during the day when the climate is favorable, people tend to wear light clothes. So the second point is that it helps business people plan for power production and how much power they will use. That is what we call power utility. So the third point is that weather forecasting help in planning sporting activities. It also helps in planning fishing activities and also help in selecting variable clothing. So the next point is that weather forecasting also helps people plan outdoor activities, i.e., to see if the rain or storm or cold weather will impact outdoor event. It also help people with health related issues to plan the day on which steps to plan for the day. It also help people to know outside weather dangers. For example, when it is too cold, people with some health issues may tend to not to get out, and that's why we can say that weather forecasting is very important in our daily activities. So let me welcome the next presenter to take us through the factors that hinder weather forecasting.
Okay. So we are going to look at factors hindering weather forecasting. The first point is lack of skilled manpower due to limited training facilities. Like technology goes on, it changes over time, and the same instruments we used to use, like which was used in some decades ago, they're not the same instruments which are being used right now to in weather forecasting. And so when it is being a new instrument has been put into place, it may be difficult for some of the people to carry on with it. Lack of modern equipment leading to faulty forecast. So when some of the equipments being used in the weather station are outdated, and being outdated, in that they give faulty results. And then another cause is natural calamities, which I will be including it with extreme weather condition which may damage or displace instruments. Natural calamities like storms, earthquakes, when they occur, they may displace the instruments. In that in a weather station, they say the area should be a gentle sloping area. And when an extreme weather occurs like earthquake, it will damage those properties and equipments which are there in the weather station. Then use of faulty instruments, which will lead to poor data. And then another thing is human error. We all know man is to error, and so when these errors occur when someone is trying to put the data to put the data just that way, then poor setting of instruments. Some instruments, when you set them wrongly, you won't be able to get the results correctly. And so those are some of the factors that hinder the weather forecasting. In the next class, we will be tackling some questions which will be done after the class.
So we are going to actually what we've learned is all about weather. So the most important thing you must know is the definition of weather, and you have to differentiate between weather and climate. So never be confused between weather and climate. Then the next thing, you should know the importance of weather. What we learn, what is the importance of whatever we have learned. Then we have the elements. My students, I encourage you that you grasp all the the elements of weather as you are going to face them in your exams. So you must know each and every element and each and every factor that will influence such an element. Then I'm going to encourage you that you have to grasp weather forecasting. As when you study something, you know you have to study for it, and when you study, you must understand well. So weather forecasting is not the study of weather, how it is going to happen, the patterns. So you should know all the methods of weather forecasting, both the tradition and modern. Then I will encourage you that you should learn and grasp the weather station. You know, when you study weather, you must have a station. And this weather station, you should know the definition, you should know the elements that are found at the weather station. You should know each and every definition, each and every function, and what I encourage you that you don't forget, you should learn and grasp the conditions that are needed to site a weather station. Then in this weather station, there are diagrams. I'm going to check in our next class that you've drawn all the diagrams and you name them well, you label every part and you explain the function. And this, then you should know the factors or maybe things that will hinder the citation of a weather station. You should know the factors that will hinder that. Then I'm going to tell you that in the next class you prepare with many questions, and that is all for today. Thank you.